Hello and welcome back to another Design League playthrough, and this one is Gotto Coastal, and I have forgotten the name of the designer. 1 second. This is by jeffa9311, so someone I don't know. And we're going to have a little playthrough. There's some stuff that I can see from the flyovers that I think is pretty typical of like someone for whom this might be a first publish. So hopefully this is a really good way of getting you some feedback and talking through a few pointers and just giving the course a little play. So yeah, we're going to leap straight into it. I think we're starting on a par 3, which is interesting. And a short par 3 no less, which I like because that's a bit different. I think I like the planting ideas that you've got here. I think we could be doing probably extending them a bit more. So you've got your one area of planting, and then here, and then we've got a lot here, and kind of nothing in between. Like, try to tie these two together, have the planting come in and out of this a little bit more. Would work well. I do like that you've raised the mound so that it kind of bleeds into the green. That's good. I think you'll, like, with a bit more practice, you'll learn to make that a little less pronounced and have it look a little bit more natural. Well done for giving us a fairway apron. We need that. You can, particularly given this pin's on a slight downslope, I actually really like the slopes on this green. Even the back right tier, like that little tier means that we have to really go at it, and if you bail out, you're probably only making a 2-putt. There is some issues with how the green is, because I think your green is all the way through here, and then so as in the green surface I think is going around here, and then you've lowered the land to bring it in, which is why you're seeing you've got the fringe like tiny here and then giant here, because the game is struggling because it wants the green to be underwater. Generally just try not to do that. Try to keep your green surface above water, and then you will avoid this awkwardness, because as you can see it doesn't look as good where if you look at the distance there to there and the fact that it's flowing off into the back as well. Right, let's see if we can hit a shot. It's not going to be great. But we've actually got a half decent putt at it. Nearly. Yeah, I think planting wise we can definitely just do a little bit more, just try to make it a bit more consistent, because I quite like, actually, let's just zoom out. Where were we? Like, these delta trees sunken are really good, so just continue that, bring it into the hole a little bit more. Same with this one. You've got them here. If we bring these out from underneath the trees, you'll get a much more natural look, because typically your undergrowth will come out from below the tree trunks. Rather just confining to a couple of planted areas, see if we can get a little bit more. Yeah, I think we've got the same kind of thing here where we're just a little too close to the edge. I think you've also got max fringe width, which is part of why that first was struggling a little bit. Definite risk reward off the tee. Yeah, I think I get a better angle if I do take on drive, so I like that. Actually, the terrain work here is quite nice. Exposing the rocky coastline, like, that's working well. I just think it needs a little bit more of you almost just committing to the look rather than just planting in a few spots. We've got to do a bit more with it. Will definitely help, because the grasses you've chosen and the trees you've used, it works. It just needs more of it. Lob wedge, I think. There we go. But yeah, solid first 2 holes. Okay, so we're on to another par 3 now, which, I mean, now this bunker, this is a major no-no in terms of how it's done. Just in the sense that you've got a shape and it's straight into the fairway. So you can see we get this awkwardness where the fairway's just coming straight in and hitting the bunker and then kind of going out. And I think spline work generally could be neater. Just in terms of, you look at, you've got your sharp corner here, we'd want to smooth that out. Honestly, I'm glad you've included a fairway apron. I don't think you need this bunker at all. It's not really protecting anything because we're not trying to land it here. If we're landing it here, then I mean, we've missed the green anyway. We don't need a bunker to put there. I don't think if you put the bunker here, absolutely, because that pushes us further over the water. That works nicely. And I think sculpting, this is a little bit harsh and it's pretty even. You'll get more of that with practice. That's not a good swing. Let's go find that bunker. And yeah, I mean, the sculpting on the back bunker isn't your best as well either. Bunkers behind greens are really tricky. Bunkers behind greens that have really funky shapes and are really narrow, even more tricky. Just generally start with kind of relatively simple bunker shapes, I'd say, and get the hang of sculpting them, and then start graduating to some of the trickier shapes, because they're just tough to do. I think you can probably also try to lower landing areas a touch. The course has been, I wouldn't say totally flat. I think you've done a good job of lowering this. I'd like to see a little bit more of the hole off the tee rather than, I can see the landing area. Just if you lower this by about 5 feet as well, then I think we'll see more of the hole and it will work nicely. Oh goodness, that was all sorts of awful. I mean, ample room to look up, to lay up. Green has a couple of big simple slopes, but I think they're done well. I think I'd just like to see a little bit more land movement. I like that this green is banked into a hill, and that adds a bit of character, but everything else is just dead flat. Like, a little bit more land movement in and around would really help. Oh, there's a swing. Oh. Yeah, just noticed you've published on default green speeds as well. Probably want to change them just because we get the option if we're ever scheduling courses for tours of bumping up the green speeds to 162, 163, sorry, 187s, and 144 is one of the default speeds, so try to generally avoid those. So this one, I do like that you have done, so we've got a couple of things that we pointed out which are much better. Planting, we have it, which is good. Again, kind of this side feels a bit more bare with the waste bunker, which is filling the space, but it's not doing a huge amount visually. And I like that you are doing a bit more of the land in terms of it's kind of high here and then low down here. What it is doing is it's creating a little bit of an awkward sight line. I'd still rather you tried this sort of thing, because this is a more interesting hole than the previous couple, in that we've got a slightly sawn off fairway. I mean, you can't really see it off the tee, which is a shame, but as in you can't see that it finishes, but that's really hard to do. But I like that we're trying like something different on this hole. That works well, and it gives me a choice to make as to whether I try to hit driver down there or do we just lay back, which, I mean, it's not the most complicated of strategies, and it doesn't need to be. Simple is good. And then we've got this, yeah, the blind approach. I think we can do this a little. All of this, I think we can do a little bit neater. I like the idea of hitting to a high plateau to be able to hit down, but managing the sight line on this shot so that we can see the green from this position, that's really difficult. So, I mean, not one to stop trying to do, because it's a good idea, just be aware that it's tough and it takes a lot of sculpting. I cannot palm 144s. Slow. But yeah, I think really just committing to things like the underbrush would be, yeah, you have done some stuff back here. I think just do a bit more of it and bring it in. It will. Yeah, the same thing with this bunker is like we've gotten to the point where why are we having fairway around it? Have we also got OB down the left? Oh jeez. I mean, you're taking driver completely out of hand and 3-wood out of hand and almost 5-wood because there's nowhere to land it on this fairway. And you may as well just run the fairway to here. Now, with this on its own, I'd say it's pretty penal, and it's not like there's not much fun to just having to lay up with a 5-wood and then having to lay up with our second, because there's no way I can really carry that. I guess you kind of can, but it would be a stupid shot to try to take on, and the OB, there's no reason for this being OB. I get that it's adding to a hazard, but with out of bounds there's still got to be a reason for it, so I'd probably avoid that. Let's just try, I mean, and then there's trees on the inside dogleg as well, so I mean I am forced to hit 5-wood and into the trees from like, but there's 4-5 different ways you're making me hit 5-wood there, and we don't like you. There are better ways of doing difficulty. And kind of the same comment as with the bunker dumped in the fairway earlier as well. Just if that part of the fairway, centerline bunkers work when there is a legitimate option to go to the left of it or to the right of it. When it's taking up the whole fairway, don't do it. Make the bunker smaller, or split the fairway and have fairway after the bunker, fairway in front of the bunker. Generally, if you're finding that it's too small to go either side of, you want to lose it. That might be alright. And there we go. We scrambled for a par after some awful tempo on that one. So there we go. Like I say, I think there's definitely some things to think about and work on. Sculpting and surfacing is pretty common early on, and hopefully this gives you a few pointers as to what you might want to work on, and how you might want to do it. There are tons of tutorials out there. Try to use them, and just like the first few courses are really just getting yourself functional in the designer, and that's true of all of us. So just like embrace that learning curve, try new things as you've been doing here. Like even if say some of those centerline bunkers and ideas don't necessarily always work, you're better for having tried them than for sticking with the same thing over and over again. But yeah, give it a play. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, best luck with your designing.